Okay, here's a test of my first look at Ubuntu Budgie desktop. Now, full disclaimer, I went to the App Store. I clicked that first thing to go to the Software Center or whatever it's called here and installed the desktop recorder, but that's it. And now I'm going to look around elsewhere and see what we have. So just like every distro, I was able to, tap the Windows or the Meta or the, whatever you want to call it key. And I was able to type in software, and then it comes up like this. And that's how I installed Simple Screen Recorder. So that was pretty cool. That was easy. Looks really polished. Like, I don't know, the Software Center has that standard look that I've seen in maybe Manjaro Linux. Can't think where else, but it looks like this in quite a few distros, and I like it. It's very familiar. It's easy to use. I could install a VLC media player. Let's try it out and see how fast it goes. I already installed updates too upon booting into it by just doing Control-Alt-T, and that brings up the terminal just like this. Everything's really snappy. I've noticed that. And this is on older hardware. It's an older Dell laptop that I've had since, oh gosh, not 10 years, probably like 7 years. It's a pretty old Dell laptop. It's Core i5, but it's an old Core i5. And it's installing pretty quickly, like I'd expect on this computer. And this is a snap, which I'm not too crazy about it, but whatever. It's going to run. It's going to work in Ubuntu. Let's try VLC now. See how fast that launches. Should ask you about updating it upon launching or setting it as the default. Did it launch? I don't know. I don't see it yet. Maybe, because Snap's the first time, just like Flatpaks, because they're containerized, they might take a little bit longer to launch. If my audio sounds really loud, that's because I like to do it that way, so you don't have to crank up the volume on your computer. And I use an input to my computer that is coming from a mixer. So that's why it sounds awesome. And, okay, cool. So I like this little bar at the top. It doesn't bother me. It kind of reminds me of old school, like Ubuntu, the old GNOME desktop, I guess. If I click this right here, I can use my mouse or my touchpad with 2 fingers to swipe sideways. That's really fluid. And again, I'm on old hardware, and I'm recording this at 60 frames a second, 1080p, which is the resolution of this monitor. And I wonder what else we could try. Let's just look around and see if it comes with any games. Does it have any categories? Yes, it does. So you look right here, you got games, Isle Riot Solitaire. I feel like so many people say that incorrectly, but I think it's just Isle Riot because Isle and then Riot. Graphics, let's see, we got Document Viewer. I don't believe it comes with an Office suite. No, it does come with LibreOffice. Cool, that's my preferred one if I'm going to use an Office suite. Generally don't use an Office suite anymore. You do things in the browser or just use Obsidian. With that, let's check if it has Obsidian in the repositories, because that's my favorite note-taking app. Let's type in OBSIDIAN. I don't see it. So let's go out to the web, and this is how I would generally look for it. And what I like to do a lot of times when I go to a website the first time in a Linux distribution is I search for what to install after installing this operating system. So I would type in, what to install Ubuntu Budgie. Let's try that and see if that comes up with any results. And it's just telling you about... Okay, let's just do this. What to install Ubuntu 22.04. That is the latest version of Ubuntu Desktop. Let's see, here we go. This is dated May 10th, very recent. These are just tweaks, and I like to see if some of these just work, because yes, I do these generally off the top of my head, but because I'm recording this live and just going to upload this, I like to just look through a list that makes it easy for me to not have to think. Let's try getting rid of these ads first. Media codecs. Okay, let's try that. That's going to work because it's going to use the Ubuntu repositories. Go down here to the dock. Did I have the? I didn't have the terminal open, so Control-Alt-T. We know that works. Right-click, paste it, enter. Oops, can't type because I'm reaching across my desk. So there we go. We're going to install that. I am on a gigabit fiber, so this should go very quickly. I'm hardwired in. Hit tab, enter. Yes, I accept it. And that was very quick, just like it always is. And let's just scroll through this list. So yeah, the Software Center does look the same, I guess. I haven't used Ubuntu 22.04, I don't believe. The latest just stock version of it. But it keeps the standard Software Center, which I like. I will not run Google Chrome, because I think Google sucks. But I will go to the next part, and we know Steam runs on here. We're not going to do that. Give Ubuntu a different color. We can mess with themes later. Let's see how the screenshot tool works. It's not going to have that GNOME screenshot tool, I don't believe. So if I do print screen, what does that give me? It just takes a screenshot, and I'm guessing it dumps it into the Photos directory. Let's check that out. There it is. That works really well. I could install a custom screenshot tool later. I prefer Ksnip. I think Ksnip is great. It's just basically a good replacement for a green shot, which there isn't really a good one in Ubuntu in Linux in my opinion. I know there's that other one, Flame Shot. I don't like it. I think it's buggy in my opinion, but we're going to skip this because this doesn't apply to much of what I'm doing right now. Let's check a few more of these. A few tweaks for laptop users. Touchpad, I already did that. I did go to Touchpad. And when I go to mouse and touchpad, I generally like to change this to natural scrolling under the touchpad area. Let's see, does it have natural? Yes, natural scrolling, because I don't like where up goes down and down goes up, but it's personal preference. So I changed that. And that works really well here. So multi-touch works great. Where I'm just two-finger scrolling on the touchpad. It's very responsive, especially on this ad molested site. This is terrible. Like all these ads. Oh my God. But I understand people need to pay the bills. Just put a donate button. I'd be more likely to donate. But God, these ads are just annoying. Let's close that. Oh, there's another ad at the bottom. Oh, there's another ad. Oh yeah. I mean, it looks desperate at this point, but let's see what else we have. I'm not doing multi-monitors because I'm not going to mess with that here. Auto remove, not going to mess with that. So I do like the general shortcuts, first impression, for this Budgie desktop. I like the Control-Alt-T and the Window key E to bring up the Explorer. It's very Windows feeling, and I like that because, well, I'm just got those habits still, and to have it happen in Linux and use a free and open source operating system is nice. Let's install Brave browser. Yeah, I'm not huge on the Chromium browsers. It doesn't really help the internet be more diverse with web standards, I guess, but I do like it much better than Google Chrome. So let's go to Brave. Oops, I don't know why I didn't type B. Brave browser install. And I am working the heck out of this computer, recording at 60 frames on this little old machine. We're going to go to download Brave, and then it will show your distribution down here. I recommend just doing right here, rather than like, you know, a software package. I just install it this way, because if you have Fedora, it'll work with that too. I use that on my Fedora desktop, and it works really well. But we're going to do it this way. Go back to the terminal. We're going to paste in each of these commands. And something I like to do that is present in almost every Linux distro is to check the terminal to be always on top when you're following a guide to install something, so then the window doesn't ever go in the background, especially if you're working on a distribution that doesn't have your Windows buttons appear all the time, similar, you know, like Fedora. Or I like to have the window active so I don't have to Alt-Tab to get it back. So there's the first command. You just do these in order. And then we're going to paste it here. And then 3 more commands. I am not good with the touchpad, as you can see. If I had a mouse on here, it would be much quicker, but I didn't take the time to plug in my mouse. It's on my desktop. Sudo apt update. Sudo apt. And I'm just typing out the last 2 commands if you haven't guessed that already. Brave browser. So we're going to say yes. And you can see it's going very quickly per a 200 and something megabyte, almost 300 megabyte package. And we can just click that and get that out of the way. And, you know, you could do, now that I have Brave installed, I could do sudo apt remove Firefox. Goodbye. In the garbage you go. Did I... What? Is it called Firefox here? Okay. Why is Firefox not... sudo apt remove Firefox. Firefox is not installed. So let's go to the... it could be a snap. Maybe it's a snap by default. Ubuntu loves snaps. So let's go to the Software Center. We're going to look for Firefox this way. It's not a Debian package. Man, we can close this. Let's find Firefox. Let's go to installed. Let's just find it this way. Firefox, there you are. Uninstall. Bye-bye. And type our password. Get rid of it. Don't need it. Uncheck so it goes away from the dock. I don't use LibreOffice Calc. I don't use Office Writer that often. Not enough to where I could just type in or hit the meta key and go to it. It hasn't removed itself from here yet. Let's click it and see what happens. It should just not launch. Okay, good. It's gone. Where is it? Let's see. Open a new window. There's no way it's still there. It had to be removed by now. Let's go to... so that's interesting. That's something I noticed. It didn't refresh this menu. So a reboot, I'm sure it would be fine. And we're going to set Brave as the default. It'll annoy you about importing things at first. Even if you skip the welcome tour, it's going to ask you to import your bookmarks, but that's fine. Just import something. Hopefully you back up your bookmarks. And, well, after that, really that's it. I mean, I like to look for things like Obsidian. Here's something. This is available as a flat pack, I believe, or an app image. Obsidian.md. My favorite note-taking app. I highly recommend it. Let's do it as a... No, actually, let me go back here. I like things to update. So let's get it for Linux Flatpak. Install. We're going to save it to the desktop. And this will just run the Flatpak install command for us, I believe. It should. Uh-oh, not supported. Do I have to go in the options here? And this is me tinkering around. I didn't review this before, as you can see. Automatic updates, yeah. I don't see many options under here to... Okay, so let's go back to, you know what? Because Ubuntu is obviously promoting the snap packages, maybe they just don't like to have the Flatpaks by default, which would make sense because I'm thinking of Linux Mint. So let's do FlatHub. Oops, and I cannot type the letter B on my keyboard. And if you go here and you go to Applications, wait, just click on FlatHub here maybe. Is that how I did it? Quick setup. It should show all the distributions. Here we go. So there's Ubuntu. Haha. Okay, so Control-Alt-T, sudo apt install Flatpak. I'm sure the veteran Linux users are like, dude, you could have just typed that, and they probably already knew that. I didn't. So, do you want to continue? I typed T because I cannot sit here at my desk with this in front of my main desktop. There I go. Okay, cool. So that was really easy. Now let's go see what happens if I click this. Does it invoke install? No, it doesn't. So what do we do next? Okay, good home. Let's try that. I don't know if it's going to work with Budgie, but whatever. Let's paste it. Yes, that's fine. Okay, only 999 kilobytes? Not a megabyte. So add the FlatHub repository. Sure. Why not? Let's do that. You're supposed to restart. So that, okay, well, we know it's going to work after that. So later on, I would recommend doing that. Any Flatpak apps you want to use, you can do that. And you saw how easy it was, just me copying and pasting these commands. So, and it even warns you here that you need to reboot. Well, that's really cool. It's probably to keep the service running to update apps, but let's try it right here. Yeah, it even says you need to restart, so I'm not going to click that, but that's awesome. It gives you plenty of warnings. Fair enough. So I hope this was informative. I hope you might have learned something from my basic Linux skills as a Linux desktop user. So far, first impressions, I really like this. I mean, we could check out more things like themes. Maybe I'll do that in a future video. Like if I go to System Tools, let's see, is there anything like themes under here? Let's check that out before I go. And there's the menu editor, which I can mess with if I couldn't get rid of the Firefox icon. So that's easy to get to. Let's go to Desktop Settings. Style. Oh, really cool. Porcillo dark. Arc darker. Oh, wow. So you can see it right away. This is kind of cool. Would you like to install them? It installs the theme for you. I don't have to like unzip it to a invisible directory in my home directory. Is really cool. So right now it's installing the missing icons. Very cool. And it says complete. Let's see if anything changes. Dark theme. You can turn that on apparently. Oh, sweet. This is easier than Windows. It slightly modifies everything in a subtle way, like the title bar here. Let's try this. And notification position, you can change that with the theme settings. Very cool. Let's do DMZ black cursor. Cool. Look how subtle that was. I like that. I'll keep the cursor white. Maybe that helps avoid, pixel burn-in. I don't know, monitor burn-in. Built-in theme. When enabled, the built-in theme will override the desktop component styling. Oh yeah, look at that transparency up there. Right, that looks cool. I like that. Let's mess with this for a while. Let's go to desktop. Active mounts. Show all mounts on the desktop. That's cool. So like any kind of shared drives or anything I map. Home directory. I like having that on the desktop. But you know what? I don't need it anymore because the window key E brings up the Explorer. I do like the trash can on the desktop. This is so cool. I like this. This is so clean and simple. I like this better than, just the stock Ubuntu right away. That's my personal preference, but I do like this better. I like how this is like mostly transparent. Windows, so sweet. There's even cool little settings to pause notifications while you're in full screen mode, which is really useful if you're doing a presentation of some sort, with your Office suite, whatever. And auto start. It's all right under here. Cool. Well, we're going to keep I think Plank is this down here. I'm pretty sure because the icon style right there kind of matches this. But yeah, thanks for watching and have a great Memorial Day weekend.